didn't stop having kids at 3. You had to have 4, okay? In actual fact, if you had 3, you'd find some hatchbacks are a bit of a problem as well, because they won't take 3 child seats across the back. They'll only take 2. And even putting a forward-facing child seat to the rear between 2 rear-facing child seats is a bit of an issue. So your next step up from there is a 7-seat people carrier, MPV type thing. But generally speaking, they're pretty expensive, and usually, I won't say this about all of them, but a lot of them that say they're 7 seats, well, they're not really 7 seats. They've got like 2 emergency seats in the back. And that's the problem with them. And even the big ones, like, I always kind of pick a Ford Galaxy because it sort of has, well, it's got one of the biggest middle row benches. It's got 3 individual seats across the rear. And 2 big back seats, but generally speaking, all of them have a tiny boot when all 7 seats are in place. Not just tiny, but some of them about size, a little bit less than a hatchback size shape. And so you get 7 people on board, but you're not going to carry 7 people's worth of stuff in the boot, especially when you have a pram. And so welcome to the Renault Traffic Passenger. This is a van. Well, it's a bus, really. It's a 9-seat bus. But you get a boot that you can just about fit a Euro pallet into, even with all 9 seats in place. Now, don't get me wrong in thinking that this is primarily designed as a passenger vehicle. It's not. It's designed as a van. It's designed as a kind of a crew cab, which is quite smart, really, because it makes it very comfortable. Now, I always loved van seating position because you're kind of above the steering wheel. It's not quite in front of you, and you're directly above the pedals. And so anyone who has trouble with their hips or back problems or any of that sort of issues that don't like pedals that are out in front of them, vans are the way to go, because you sit with your knee at a right angle to the floor. Makes it very comfy. Now, on a motorway, you might think your foot's going to get tired like that. Well, there's a solution to that as well, because this has cruise control involved. Also, this one has sat-nav, it has air conditioning, it has central locking, it has a speed limiter, it has headlamp levelers, it has front electric windows, it has slidey windows in the back, you slide them along, very quaint. It has 2 sliding doors on either side, and has a double back door, so double doors that open outwards rather than a big tailgate that lifts up. So it's all very, very smart. Now the thing is, I know this is really the only way you can go if you have more than 4 or 5 kids. You're in trouble with cars straight away, because cars don't really cater for you anymore. Because of the amount of seat belts in a car more than anything. You look at some of the small hatchbacks, they only come with 2 seat belts in the rear. There might be a bench seat back there, but there's actually only 2 seat belts, so you're breaking the law immediately. 7 seats come with 7 seat belts in them, but actually fitting 7 people into that car quite regularly is very difficult. But in this, you will not have those issues. You will fit 9 people into this car quite comfortably, and crucially 9 people's worth of equipment into the boot. You can easily get a couple of double buggies in there and a load of shopping as well while you're at it. This thing does make sense, and in some ways I wonder why parents drive anything else other than a van this size. Because it fits into normal parking spaces. You've sliding doors on the side, so it makes no difference how tight you get. You know, if you're really short of space, you still have 2 sliding doors, so, well, it's not really an issue. Plus, it's very economical for something this size. It's averaging out about 8 litres per 100 kilometres, which is respectable enough. It does struggle a bit on the motorway, all these cars do, because they're quite slab-sided, they're quite flat on the front, and they're not as aerodynamic maybe as a car, so you'll never get that same perfect fuel economy. Some sensibleness. You've got a huge big cup holder over here, you've got electric windows, electrically adjustable mirrors, it's basic enough after that. So I have manual wipers, manual lights, that sort of thing, and none of that really bothers me. That's just a flick of a switch. I want the lights on, there's the lights on. It's not really that difficult to get lights on a machine like this. I also have a TomTom sat nav that's built into this, very good, with a remote control, and I have Bluetooth down on the wing mirror, and I have an extra mirror at the bottom here as well. I can see lower down, right down to the bottom of the car. It's easy to drive. It's got plenty of power, plenty of pulse, 115 brake horsepower underneath the bonnet. Now, tax on this is $1,050 a year. But imagine the amount of car you are getting for van for $1,050 a year. You could easily double up as a taxi on the weekends. And it's so quiet. And honest to God, a van seating position is so comfy. I can just sit back here now, chill out, and be overtaken by a Fiat Panda. Honestly. There it is. See? Fiat Panda. Wasn't messing. There's a new one of that, and it's nicer. Now, these kind of cars are not built for speed. They're built for transporting a lot of things and people wherever you want to go. Because you have 9 seats in this, you have a chance of being able to load in 9 people. And I mean that, 9 adults. Won't really be a problem because it's very broad, it's square, and squares work. When you want to transport people and stuff places, square is the way to go. Because the squarer it is, the more room you have on all sides of you, so the further away you are from doors and things. It's car curves. It's the curves of a car that mean that a shape won't fit in there, because notoriously things like furniture, even prams and stuff, they all come in rectangular boxes or square boxes, or they have a certain shape because they have to fit on pallets. But fitting that stuff into a car can be quite difficult. I have a decent trip computer as well in front of me. I can go through it. You can see currently I'm using 8.4 litres per 100 kilometres, which is about its average. I have half a tank of diesel left, and I have a range of 680 kilometres left. I've covered nearly 600 kilometres on the first half of the tank, so that would lead me to think I'm going to do about 1,200 kilometres. My average use of fuel, I've used 44.8 litres. Okay, my average has been 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Now that's really good considering the size of this vehicle, the sheer vastness of this vehicle, that it's not just a 4x4 off-road or a 2-wheel drive, single little thing that carries 5 people. This carries 9 people and a bootload of stuff. Obviously your fuel economy will be affected by the amount of people that are in the car with you and the amount of stuff you have in the boot. But I don't see why you wouldn't get many happy years of motoring from this very vehicle.